Bali Health Department suggests DHF vaccination for tourists. And proposed tourism fee on airfares faces business backlash. Yes, you may be paying even more money to come to Indonesia. Stay tuned for details. Selamat siang. Welcome to the latest news from Bali and Indonesia. This is April 24th. I think I got this right this week. And my name is Bruce. What's the weather like today? Yucky. It's not raining right now, but it is really humid. 30.2 degrees Celsius and 84% humidity. And wind speed is 18.4 kilometers per hour. It is gusty. The last couple of days, we've been having some rain on and off. It hasn't been the nicest of days after some really good weather, I guess, for the last week or so. But who knows? Who knows? But there are a lot of mosquitoes out, and so that is our main story, and so let's talk about that. The Bali Health Services, DHF, responded to a case of dengue hemorrhagic fever, which befell a tourist from Queensland. This is while he was on holiday on the island of the gods. Acting head of Disease Prevention and Control Division of the Bali Health Service, I Gusti Ayu Raka Susanti, said that his party is more focused on prevention and therefore recommends that tourists carry out dengue fever vaccinations when entering endemic areas, even though this program is not yet mandatory. According to him, dengue fever vaccination is an effort to protect oneself, not only tourists, but also the people of Bali. The Bali Health Department does not have specific data on the number of tourists exposed to dengue fever. However, overall, the dengue fever rate in Bali is quite high, with a total of 4,177 cases from January, and that includes 5 deaths. He said if the dengue fever vaccination is not yet mandatory, it is paid. It means you have to pay for it. If I'm not mistaken, it's $400,000 per injection. If people want that, please go to a health facility that already provides it for babies to the elderly. So they're going to cover everybody, I guess. And from what this says, if you're a tourist, I guess you could go to a health facility and ask for the vaccination wherever they are. It doesn't say which health facilities have them, and get a shot. I don't know. This is the first I've heard about vaccinations for dengue being carried out on the island. He said that a number of deaths due to dengue from January to April has decreased compared to last year. In total, last year, 19 people from Denpasar, Tabanan, Karangasem, Klungkung, Gianyar, and Badung died from dengue. In the January to April 2023 period, there were 13 cases. In February 2024, there's 1 case in Klungkung. In March, there are 2 in Denpasar and 1 in Gianyar. And in April, 1 in Tabanan. These are the deaths. The number this year is lower than last year, he said. The Bali Health Department said that the number of positive cases of dengue has decreased this year also. But the number remains high because we are still in the rainy season. The number of cases infected, as I said, 4,177. There were 709 cases in January, 910 in February, 1,659 in March, and this month, up to now, 899 cases. Pak Susanti said that the trend of dengue cases is always the same, mostly in Denpasar, Gianyar, and Badung, because those 3 areas are the ones that have the densest population. So if the government's telling tourists that they should get vaccinated, they're concerned. They're concerned. You know, with all these viral videos going out now, mostly on TikTok, talking about Thailand is better than Bali, Vietnam is better than Bali. If cases of dengue pop up among tourists and they trace them back to here, that is not going to do well for the tourism business in Bali. And so the government is being, I guess, proactive about this. Am I going to get a vaccination? No. I have had dengue. I know I can get it again, and it is extremely unpleasant. Worse than when I had malaria. And I got malaria when I lived in Papua. So, if you are here, make sure you take care. Okay, and what about more fees? More fees for what? And this is a possibility, not definite. Proposed tourism fee on airfares faces business backlash. The government's plan to collect a fee by hiking airfares faces a backlash from the tourist industry players who deem such a surcharge counterproductive and unethical. Counterproductive, yeah. Another fee? A letter issued by the Office of the Coordinating Investment and Maritime Minister on Saturday revealed that the government's considering collecting fees on airfares for the new Tourism Endowment Fund. What is that? Just wait for a minute. Discussions on the matter are still in the early stage, according to government officials. It's best to just confirm it with the Office of Coordinating Maritime Affairs and Investment Minister, because this is the initial discussion, according to the Transportation Ministry spokesperson. Tourism and Creative Economy Minister Paksandiaga reassured reporters that the fee is still being discussed and in any case would not burden the public with higher ticket prices. So they're going to put a surcharge on the airfares, they're going to charge the airlines this, and the consumers are not going to feel it. I find that hard to believe. The airlines are going to eat this fee increase. Indonesia Hotels and Restaurant Association Secretary General expressed concern that the proposed rule would hurt tourist businesses that were still struggling to bounce back from the COVID-19 pandemic. We hope that the government will not put a burden on businesses and travelers. Increasing airfares for the sake of tourism fund will hurt the appeal of Indonesian tourism. And boy, I believe that. He lamented that flights within Indonesia were more expensive than overseas flights of the same distance, and said the issue should be prioritized considering the domino effect that it has on balanced tourism development in Indonesia. The proposed rule is also seen as contradicting the government's long-standing effort to adjust airfare caps and floors to accommodate domestic customers' purchasing powers. Alvin Lee, who chairs the Association of Indonesian Aviation Service Users, said collecting fees from airfares is unethical, considering that passengers will not directly benefit from the Tourism Endowment Fund that the funds would flow into. He said, according to the International Air Transport Association rule, airfares should not include no additional costs besides value-added tax, passenger service charge. Making matters worse for passengers, he added, the Transportation Ministry had yet to raise the price ceiling for tickets, TBA, to account for increased aviation turbine fuel cost and a weakened rupiah, as no increase has taken place since 2019. When asked about the progress of the adjustment, Transportation Ministry Civil Aviation Director told the Post that a revision of the relevant ministerial regulation is underway. We need to consider the people's purchasing power, so the process of adjusting the TBA cannot center on business-related issues only. He suggested the government consider collecting the fee instead as a surcharge from hotel bookings or from foreign tourist visa on arrival applications instead of collecting the fees from airfares, okay? Here's another way. If the hotel costs go up, you don't think you're going to pay for that? And here is directly, if they put it on the foreign tourist visa on arrival applications, well, then you're paying right there. He continued, if the government is looking for capital for the tourism fund, please do so professionally, not taking the people's money. He said the idea is absurd considering that only 12% of air passengers were traveling for tourism purposes. Indonesia National Air Carrier Association Secretary General declined to comment on the matter when contacted by the Jakarta Post. Meanwhile, a meeting that had been scheduled for Wednesday to discuss the tourism fee plan with industry stakeholders was postponed. According to another letter from the Office of Coordinating Investment and Maritime Affairs Minister, Pak Luhut, right? The meeting is going to be rescheduled at the first opportunity. The Tourism Ministry is devising a presidential regulation to establish 2 trillion rupiah Tourism Endowment Fund. That's 123 million US dollars, more or less. Potential financing sources for the fund are tourism fees or additional fees obtained from foreign nationals' entry visa charges. The state budget, regional expenditure budget, investment returns, and other legitimate financing options can also be sources of funds for this. Pak Sandiaga said on February 18th that the ministries launched the fund to help the country bid for music, sports, or cultural events deemed capable of generating a multiplier effect for Indonesian tourism. The fund's establishment was part of the government's effort to replicate Singapore's success in generating hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue by paying Taylor Swift to perform, right? That was Swiftian economics. Talked about that 2 or 3 videos ago. And so you are going to be paying for this fund to get tourists to come here. Kind of ironic, right? You want more tourists to come? Let's charge the tourists that are already here so we can get some money, so we can get more tourists to come here and get them to pay some more. A spokesperson from PHRE said, to replicate something like in Singapore, the government must evaluate the quality and sustainability of existing tourist destinations first. So what he's saying there is, just because it happens in Singapore does not mean it's going to happen here. We can't just follow along and hope that what happened in Singapore is going to happen in Indonesia. So I'll keep a track on this one because I don't know how tourists are going to feel about another fee, right? You've got fees to go to every tourist destination on the island here now. Plus you've got the 150,000 tourist tax, plus the 500,000 for the visa on arrival. And so costs are going up and up and up. Not going to make Indonesia really competitive. From what I understand, watching a video the other day, you can go to Thailand for 30 days for free. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But that's what I picked up from watching some digital nomad video the other day. And a big meeting coming up, big international meeting coming up just next month. Indonesia speeds up preparation for World Water Forum 2024 in Bali. The meeting's held from May 18th to the 25th, according to Pak Luhut, the coordinating minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment. He said the preparations have gone well up to today. He said this at a coordination meeting the other day. The meeting discussed various aspects, including security, disaster mitigation, and the preparation of medical facilities. Ministers from 193 countries are expected to attend the forum to discuss the use of water for welfare. In the future, water will become a serious problem for the world. That's why this forum is very important, according to Pak Luhut. I think we all know that. And he said that there will be several activities held on the sidelines, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Saturday's meeting was attended by some high-ranking people, including the chief of the National Police, the commander of the Indonesian Armed Forces, and the Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy. Who else but Pak Sandiaga Uno? Additionally, the head of Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics Agency was there, and the acting Bali governor. The WWF is an international meeting of water resources stakeholders, including governments, parliaments, academicians, multilateral institutions, NGOs, and industries. This will be the last international forum in Indonesia under President Jokowi. So, according to Pak Luhut, we want him to have his special memories of this agenda. Oh, isn't that sweet? And what about these activities, these special activities? Okay, some controversy there. Bali denies commercialization of the Melukat ritual for WWF delegates. Bali Regional Secretary Dewa Made Indra said that the Melukat agenda, or the holy water purification ritual for the delegates, is not aimed at commercializing holy places in Bali. Melukat is a sacred ritual in Balinese Hinduism that purifies and cleanses individuals of impurities, both physical and spiritual, in order to restore inner harmony. And it's also become a huge tourist attraction for those spiritually inclined. He said, there is no commercialization. The agenda is just an activity offer, not an official agenda yet. If it's included in the official agenda, it will be offered to delegates who desire to participate. But I don't think everyone will participate. That makes it better. Pak Sandiago Uno's plan to invite thousands of WWF delegates to experience Melukat was met with protests from several local communities. They argued that delegates should not be taken to sacred sites, as this would appear to be commercializing sacred places in Bali. Among the sacred sites that could be chosen is Tirta Umpul Temple in Tampak Siring in Gianyar. We will definitely consider it. The service for the public should remain open, but the destination must be open to others as well. As the name suggests, he explained that the World Water Forum is a forum for talking about water. Okay, that's pretty clear, I think. One of the activities on offer is water purification, therefore. For now, Bali provincial government is still looking at alternative places for the Melukat, taking into account access to the site and the capacity of each location. The 10th World Water Forum's theme is Water for Shared Prosperity. The meeting will address and discuss water issues and find common solutions to water management problems. A big problem globally and just getting worse. And one more to go, and this one is about crime in Bali. Bad. Actions of mugging gangs increasingly disturb foreign tourists in Legian and Kuta. Dozens of nightlife entrepreneurs are made into gangs. Okay, that's not a good translation. Dozens of nightlife entrepreneurs are getting together in order to make a petition about this, and we'll discuss that. I was particularly interested in this story because I just saw a thing on TikTok which has gone viral from some woman who said, there is no crime in Bali, everything is peace and love, and I have never been disturbed. That's good for her, I'm glad. But the wrong message to send to people who get their news from TikTok, bad idea anyway, because there are problems, as everybody that has been here for a while knows, especially in the tourist area, with people snatching and grabbing handphones and jewelry and other things. And that's what this story is about. Foreign tourists often complain of losing their valuables after enjoying nightlife in the Legian and Kuta area. On Jalan Legian, muggings often occur, and the victims are foreign tourists, according to a security member of one of the famous nightclubs in the Legian area, who did not want to be named. The security member said that foreign tourists often complained to him that they were victims of muggings after enjoying an evening of drinking and listening to music. It's true that foreign tourists often spend the night at our entertainment venues, but after leaving, they become victims on Jalan Legian and the surroundings. They report these cases to the police and village security, but it continues to happen. Entrepreneurs in Legian, Kuta, and Seminyak are anxious, he said. This unidentified source said that because the mugging cases in the Legian Kuta area are increasingly disturbing tourists and not being handled seriously by relevant parties, they complain to the security people. He said, in fact, we've explained to tourists that the report has to go to the police or to the Pechalang and to local Satpol PP. They have authority. We have also shown the CCTV footage to tourists that it happens on the street, not in our clubs. Because they often receive complaints from foreign tourists, dozens of businessmen have created a petition which says, we, the undersigned, as business actors in the Legian Kuta area, hereby submit complaints about security disturbances in the Legian area and its surroundings in the form of pickpockets and snatches, which occur almost every day and are often complained about by tourists visiting Legian. Of course, this has a very bad impact on the image of Bali tourism in general and on business conditions we run in particular. So tourists are starting to be reluctant to come to visit Legian. Due to these security disturbances, we asked the police chief and related parties to follow up on our complaints so the security conditions and the good image of tourism are maintained properly. This petition was signed by dozens of entrepreneurs in the Legian and Kuta area. Among them, Ahas, Mexicola, Bliss Bar, G-Sound, Atlas, Potato Head, Karaoke, DeBerry, Mexicola, Changu, Mississippi, John Restaurant, Tamaria, Finn's Beach, Ratify, Opium Lounge, Ground Zero, Engine Room, and more. Wow, and Sky Garden. So a lot of businesses. Regarding the business people's complaints about this in the area, there has been no official response from the Kuta police chief. So things have gotten bad enough that the business owners are contacting the police and with a petition signed by a lot of clubs saying, look, this is getting bad, pickpocketing and muggings, and you need to do something about it. I was surprised that muggings and pickpocketings have gotten to that point there. So if you are coming to Bali, yeah, you can go to those clubs. You just need to be careful when you go out at night and don't go home alone, especially if you've been drinking, because that makes you a good target. Always best to travel in groups. Okay, that is it for today. It is sticky. I want to take my shirt off and just relax. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to somebody today. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.